Hello, all, and welcome to tonight's late night beer review. It's after 9 o'clock. So, yeah, um, things just kind of ran late, as it were. But it's good news is it's now February, so I'm now back to reviewing regular beers. So, last night I went and drank a little bit just to go and get my tolerance up because tonight we are reviewing a local beer. I also have a couple of other interesting things on the table to review next week. But for now, we will be reviewing something from Big Island Brewhouse, one of my favorite breweries. And this is Red Giant Red India Pale Ale. So this is batch 1396. Don't know how old that's supposed to be, but it should be fairly recent, as the place I got this from just opened a few months ago. So this is 6.8 ABV, and 2014 Gold Medal American Amber / Red Ale US Open Beer Championships. So Big Island Brewhouse does win quite a few awards for a local brewery. Pretty small brewery, too. So our sun will be a red giant in 5 billion years. This hoppy red ale is a red giant now, brewed with a rich blend of light and dark caramel malts and a full dose of American hops. It finishes with a dry hop and toffee flavors. Gold medal 2014 US Open Beer Championships. So let's get to this, shall we? I'm looking forward to it. Got ourselves a glass here. Ooh, big dank flavors on opening. Giving you a fairly vigorous pour here. About a finger's worth of frothy off-white to beige head with a cloudy red amber brown, very unfiltered. Scent is delightfully dank. Definitely smell the amber malts, caramel malts underneath. There's the foundation. Hints of pine. Florals, just ever so much. Very dank, piney, also a bit of grapefruit rind, and all on a very solid foundational malt base. A little bit too cold, but it's also a very cold night, so my perception of cold. I should have let this sit out for a little bit longer before pouring, but such are the vicissitudes of life, and we're just going to give it a full, grab. Hmm. Seems like the more volatile top notes of the hops have kind of dissipated, so I do think that this is a few months old. Definitely a lasting bitter hop finish. Hop forward in the front, but you definitely have the malt base there. Right now is not really expressing itself too well. It's pretty closed up, but like I said, I think I poured this a little bit too cold. It'll probably be a bit better from the mid 50s to 60s range of temperature. Fahrenheit, that is. Hmm. So I can taste some great caramel malts underneath the hop forwardness, the blunt hops. And it seems fairly delicate, the malt base, that is. Very toffee-like notes. Yep, toffee-like notes. It's very zesty, rindy hop presence in the mids to finish, but not so much into the long finish, which is just a sort of bitterness. Not too tannic, though, at least. It's not too, while it's very lasting, it's not too mouth parching. There's enough residual sugars in there, so it doesn't really dry up the mouth. You hear that dog barking in the background? This is what I live with every night. Drives me up the wall. I don't know how, and it's actually like down that way. I don't know how the people who live next to it's not go crazy. Yeah, definitely getting richer in the front. The malt is starting to assert as it's warming up. The malts are starting to assert itself more in the front, getting more dimensionality to that toffee. Certain amount of brightness to the malt base as opposed to the hops, which seem a little bit muted and dead. And I just think that's an age thing. I think there's a lot of the nicer volatiles have kind of dissipated just in the past few months. Yeah, I would have to say, really, you want to serve this more on the warm side. It's getting better and better as it warms up. It's still too cold right now. Parts of, it's a nice little cold snap. First time there's been one since, like, I don't know, I didn't think we had a cold snap last year, but we've got a real cold snap right now, in which, parts of the island are actually dipping below 60 overnight. So, up in the mountains, of course, not over here. Over here, it's probably about 65 or so. But, yeah. Boy, every single thing wants to make noise. My computer wants to go and have noisy pop-ups. Dog wants to bark all night. Cops want to go. I don't like living in the city, man. I really don't like living in the city. I miss having a yard. But there's still beer. Beer can follow you wherever you go, except maybe Islamic countries. Yeah. There's a lot of interplay in between the hops and the malts. And the malts are sweet, but they're very well balanced by, the fairly heavy hopping. So, it doesn't really come across as sweet. I haven't really said much of the mouthfeel. I'm going to go and explore that for a little bit. It's about to style. Definitely presence. I wouldn't say it's chewy, much less oily, but there's definite presence there. Yeah. The more it warms up, the more I'm enjoying this. But by the same token, even though that this won an award, I have to be honest. I'm not feeling it as much as the award panel did, and I'm not sure if that's because I think this has been sitting for at least a few months. It really does seem like the hops should be a little bit more expressive, but that just might be age or your mileage may vary as with all things that regards in regards to taste. Still is it's pretty it's pretty darn satisfying, I have to say. Pretty darn satisfying. This is kind of extending because I just want it to warm up more and more and more. But I'm thinking we're starting to hit like a diminishing returns at this point. So, Red Giant, Red India Pale Ale. Definitely what it says on the bottle here. You're getting a lot of those toffee notes. You can really taste those caramel malts that are well balanced with a very expressive hopping that shows up well when you're just nosing it, and also on the palate, but kind of lacks a lot of the effervescent notes that really, really make it pop. Mesh as it is, it meshes quite well. The hopping and the malt base mesh very well, but I'm just looking for a little bit more, a little bit more pizzazz on top. That just might be me. But yeah, I'm never really disappointed with a beer from Big Island Brewhaus. So I can't really say that I'm disappointed by this, but it's not the best Red India Pale Ale that I've had. Again, date might have something to do with it. They only label these with batch numbers and not with like absolute dates. So I think that this might have um, been on the shelf since Foodland Marketplace opened up about, see here, October, November, thereabouts. So, this beer's probably a few months old. Not to say it's bad by any means or stale by any means. It's just kind of uh, perhaps lost a bit of the gill that really brings out the lily. Uh, Mixed metaphors are sometimes awkward if they don't quite mesh like that one just did. Anyways, give this one a shot if you find it, especially if it's on tap. So you generally can be assured that it's really fresh and well kept. So yeah, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. I'm really glad to be back doing reviews. I'm going to finish this up and then go and make myself a uh, glass of hot tea, and then open up a can of what I intend to go and review next. So, beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.